There I am. Good afternoon. Technically, this is take 2, but you would never know that unless YouTube decided to not follow my instructions of deleting my terrible attempt and failure in memory. Oh, I'm not ashamed. I just didn't want to, spend 2.5 minutes not knowing what I was talking about. All right, so I had a previous video where I talked about shared goals. Okay, and that the last video that I'm deleted, and I just couldn't remember the name of the video, so whatever. Here we go. Shared goals. Watch that for a little extra dive on what I'm talking about. Okay. It will add some context. What I'm talking about with this title of this provocative title, "Say No to Common Sense," and I mean that seriously. Say no to common sense. Here's why. Again, you want extra material to understand why I'm saying what I'm saying? Watch Shared Goals, which is in direct reference to the Prager video about why you can't argue with leftists. Okay, so it's not a rebuttal. It's not a rebuttal. It's more so an exposition on the topic. Okay, so anyway. Here we go. Say no to common sense. Everybody's using this phrase. And in a lot of the same ways that Christians almost don't want to use the term Christian because of its complete distortion of meaning, and how we don't want to say love anymore because of the distortion of meaning, so on and so on. There's a lot of examples, but those are two really good ones. Just how completely destructed these words have become. It's sad. It's not good. So common sense also very abused. And here's what I'm saying. What does common mean? Okay? And I think that it can be easily enough argued that at the least, common means over 50.1%. Over 50.1%. I don't know, but I think we can all agree that common means at least more than half. A little bit more than half, okay? That's what makes it common, right? If there's a more particular definition for the word common, fine. Okay, I think you're getting the point. Well, it's not that way, though. It's not. Guys, common sense is not common anymore because it used to have meaning. It doesn't have meaning anymore because people that don't have it are claiming it. Okay, diametrically opposed concepts can't both be common sense. There is a difference between opinion and common sense. And what used to be common sense has literally been systematically deconstructed. I don't even know the right word to use. I think deconstructed might be more accurate. Systematically deconstructed, I'm going to use that phrase, as the method that's been used for decades, centuries, all time, really, guys. Common sense. Well, these are the things. Common sense is just the concept of what we can all agree on. Not everybody agrees on these things that you think are basic. Obviously. Some people get it. Some people really, really get it. Some people don't get it. I, for one, no one thinks this is funny except for a select group of about 10,000 people in the YouTube community. There's a good 10,000 folks, maybe 20, that get it. They totally get it. Oh boy. Oh boy. I am not kidding when I say stop it with the common sense. It's not common anymore. Listen, claim rationality. It's just rational. You can't do it. I don't know. It's not even, I don't even know anymore. I don't even know what you can claim. You can't claim common decency. You can't claim common sense. You can't claim that there is a inherent rationality in the human mind. By nature of this fallen world, people are irrational. People want to be their own God. People want to create their own autonomy. That means self-made law. Look at the words. Guys, that's the way the world is. These concepts are like an appeal to goodness in man, which it's not there. Side note, P.S. That's what this is, a little centrally placed P.S. As opposed to at the post, so it's mid MS. Not to be confused with any other thing that might stand for MS. But mid script, whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just a little side comment, a little aside for anybody that's a bear. And if you don't get it, you don't get it. Okay. But when a certain person says he's a good guy, but then he also later tries to explain. So for anybody that they get it, most people get it, but for those that don't get it, okay, for most people that don't get it, when he says good, he means honest and or trustworthy to a point. Mostly trustworthy, a person of integrity in a general sense. That's what he means. I'm just clarifying what the dude means. And hey, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. I've logged literally hundreds of hours of view time. That's a lot. Just saying, I'm pretty sure I know. Could be wrong. Prove me wrong. Anyway, back to the subject at hand. Common sense doesn't exist. Prove me wrong. Common sense doesn't exist. It doesn't exist because, here's why it doesn't exist. Because that's just not the way the world works. Common sense. See, common sense is an appeal to self-preservation, which doesn't, on a pragmatic level, it should exist. But there are people that will deny self-preservation, even though it is at the root. It is at the root level. It is at the root level of who we are. I get it. I literally get it. Okay? But because of post-modernity, okay, because of the deconstruction of words, of meaning, of absolute truth, and I'm not talking about literal deconstruction. I'm talking about attempted deconstruction. I'm talking about systemic deconstruction. I'm talking about the perception of these words has changed, not the actuality of the words. Yes, I do believe that there is an actual truth, an actual absolute truth, that there are facts, and they are apart from our feelings about them. They are apart from our opinions about them. I absolutely believe that that's the case. Due to the nature of deniers, it prevents the opportunity to claim the existence of common sense. Because we're talking about different things. It's like when people talk about God, but they don't know who they're even talking about. They're talking, when people, so many people, I would literally say the majority of people on this planet, when they say God, whatever language they're saying it in, they are literally saying a word about a... Supposedly I'm back. Not sure when that cut off. All I'm saying is when people say the word God, okay, they're talking about a concept in their own brain, in their own mind, a construct, okay, within their own brain. A majority of people. Now there are some people that when they say God, they decline, and I'm choosing my words as carefully as possible to convey the best meaning, because I care about these things. I care about meaning. I care about accuracy. Okay? There are people that decline to claim that they understand the totality of God. And therefore, because of that prejudice or preconceived notion, they learn about God. They don't pretend to lay claim to God in his totality when they're talking about it. Those are the select, that's a minority of people that think about God in that way. They know truth exists. They know all truth is God's truth. They know where to find that truth, but they don't claim to know the totality of the truth of God. And they let the truth shape their understanding of him, as opposed to their opinions shape their understanding of God. Unfortunately, most people take their own personal experiences and anecdotes that they've accumulated in their lifetime as a means to understanding God. And it's sad, and it's pathetic, and it's egregious, and it's not helping. It's not helping them. It's not. Anyway, say no to common sense, guys. The reason I want you to say no to common sense is I want you to realize that everybody's not on your side. And this isn't us versus them. It's the fact that there are not shared goals universally. There are going to be people that do not share the goals that you have. You might not have correct goals. Well, what are you saying? That you're saying right now that there's such a thing as correct goals? Yes. There are. Absolutely, there are correct goals. Are we going to get them all right every time? We can. Do we or will we? No and yes, eventually. But not because of our own efforts, but because that's what will happen eventually. We will be completely unified in our goals one day. It's going to take a major event. It's going to be very serious. I'm just going to get on over then. All right, so bottom line is the reason I'm telling you to say no to common sense is because it gives you a false impression that people know what they're talking about. The concept of common sense gives you a false impression that most everybody thinks the way that you think. You could be the psychopath that is destroying it for everyone else. You could be. Right now, in this time, in this day and age, it's a small minority of people that have goals that are beneficial, non-maleficent. Very few. Very few. And then what's worse, here's what's worst. Here's what's worse. Yeah, with an E at the end. This is what's worse. There are thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people, probably in millions, just in America. So, it's disgusting. But there are people that believe that they're being maleficent. They are in their sanctimonious minds, virtue signaling left and right. They wholeheartedly believe that they're doing no harm. Meanwhile, they are a genocidal psychopath. And I mean these words literally, not hyperbole at all. I'm speaking as literally as I possibly can. Genocidal maniacs, genocidal psychopaths, antisocial people that wholeheartedly, I know it's baffling. It's like, well, that's not even possible. Yes, it is. All day, every day. They believe that they're doing no harm. They believe that because of their sanctimonious virtue signaling, that they're actually accomplishing something that's good. It's like something I was saying in another one of my videos. Everybody claims to have a slice of the pie of truth. Nobody's clinging to something they believe is a lie as their modus operandi. Like, that's not how it works. And if you take any person on the planet in all history and you try to determine the thing that they stood for and its value and potential truthfulness, find any truth in something, even the most evil person you could ever find, search for a little tiny sliver of truth in what they thought or were doing, you can find it. There's nobody, like, absolute truth, oh no, objectively, there was this one sliver of truth that they were clinging to, and it was real, and they just had 99.999% of evil, but they did have this one tiny thing that they held to that was truth. I'm telling you, the truth will set you free thing, but not, it will, but it also, it's about, you can't serve two masters. So it's about holding on really to the lies, but justifying your lies with a sliver of truth to make it look not like a lie. If you get it, okay? If you don't, you need to, because it's important. It's very important. This is like the crux. This is the crucial element. It literally goes to the root of everything. This concept right here, what I'm talking about, okay? The way that you can better understand and even have compassion for the most vile enemy you can imagine. The way that you can still have compassion for them, and maybe compassion's not part of your goal. I think that it's wise to have compassion, even for the most vile evil, because it's part of what will preserve you from evil. Compassion, not acceptance. Compassion is different, okay? I heard that. I heard you. Okay. But yeah. And so what I'm saying is, in addition to that, it will help you make sense of things. So I've been having this issue, this struggle, philosophical, psychological. Philosophical is probably the most. I've had this philosophical struggle, guys, recently, of not understanding how someone could believe and defend the things that they believe in and defend. It's completely confusing to me. Like, how can you believe that? It's not logically consistent. It's not this. It's not that. It doesn't seem to fit in the context of common sense. It's a self-defeating or non-beneficial for preservation of mankind. Whatever. There are people with concepts that they believe that just don't. It's like, how do you? Where are? What are you? What happened to you that you can believe that? Right? It's like, I don't even understand how you can live with yourself with that belief. What? So, when you're feeling that way, this is what I'm saying. When you feel like that, when you're like, I just don't know how you can even live with yourself. How are you even not exploding or having an aneurysm or whatever right now? Just confusing. Look for the element of truth. It might take you getting to know that person. Find out what the virtue that they're trying to cling to in what they're saying or doing. And that will help you understand that person, because that's their justification. And they're using that justification accepting these lies. Because somehow at some point in time, somebody attached the lies to the virtue. It's always the way it's been. Always the way it's been. That's the way lies work. Lies are able to be swallowed because they've been distorted. They've been coated, so to speak. Lies are coated with tiny blankets of truth. But it's like, yeah, that's true, but it's also not true all the way. So, like, again, the word, again, I don't know this before, but for those of you that don't know the other languages, the word in the Bible is Paris. Paris, just like the city in France, right? That's how they say it, at least, right? Oh, Paris. All right, so anyway, the word is Paris. That word is not a fruit. It is fruit. Okay, it's not a specific fruit. Just saying. Okay? So people can go shove their apples, their orifices, whatever. Okay? Apples, not relevant. Art distorts our concept of reality and history. Artists have done some great things and they have done some evil things. But don't let art paint your picture. Just whatever. You get it. Everybody gets it. Not everybody, though. Everybody I love that phrase too. I do. I hear you. It's fun to say. It is too much fun to say, but it's not always true, obviously. Some of you don't get it. Okay? And if you don't even know what I'm talking about when I say you get it, then fine. You don't get it. It's fine. Anyway, Paris is a fruit. So the point I was trying to make, I just shared a random fact. I like sharing little random facts. The point I was trying to make is you would be like God if you ate this. You would be like him. Yeah, they were already like God though. So it's like the most moot point ever. But and the blatant, you won't surely die. Well, yeah, not in this very second in time was the truth, right? That was the truth. You're not gonna surely die. Surely, right? Think about the distortion there, okay? Very important, because the exact same methodologies are used to this day. Lies have truth. If you touch this button, you're gonna turn into a golden butterfly and shoot off to the moon. Okay, why would you not believe that? Oh, because it's not been coated with anything. It's not been coated with anything that is truthful. But if I say, this is a magical button, no one in the world has ever gained access to this special button. If you push this button, there's a high chance that the magic will transmit to your body. You will turn into a butterfly and shoot off to the moon. Why is that more palatable? Because of what we believe about magic, apparently. That's not more palatable for me. Fine. Okay? You're not a slave, okay? It's cool. It's good. Good for you. Okay, but for a lot of people, it's more palatable. I'm just trying to point out it's a methodology that's still used to this day. Okay, it's very important to think about this. Common sense doesn't exist, guys, because the common, we're so disjointed. Too many liars. Too many liars. Too many people choking down lies like the donuts. It's not good. It's evil. Stay away. Stay